Ya, what's up, balik lagi sama gue Dan. Oke, kita langsung lanjutin lagi game Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Oke, finally class trial chapter kelima. Dan ini chapter yang sangat-sangat menarik karena banyak banget yang terjadi di chapter ini dan semuanya gue rasa semakin mendekat untuk membongkar identitas pelaku sebenarnya. Jadi kita jelasin aja semuanya langsung di class trial ini.
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. Okay, well, I'll leave the rest up to you.
Well then, let's discuss the specifics of the victim. First, we need to clarify who exactly the unidentified victim is.
It's Kyoko. There's no other explanation.
Bodoh.
But Kyoko's standing right there.
No, that's a ghost!
Itu hantu.
But she has legs and stuff.
Well, that's just because she's like the latest evolution in ghost technology.
There's a limit to how much ridiculousness I can tolerate.
Ini bodohnya kelewatan.
Okay. So I just have to prove that the corpse isn't Kyoko, right? Then let's compare Kyoko's traits to the traits of the dead body.
Aduh, bener-bener si hero. Bodohnya kelewatan banget. Oke, sekarang kita
And
tinggal
would you happen to
ya.
know the answer?
Kenapa kau tahu jawabannya?
In fact, Monokuma told me. Apparently you have scars on your hands you don't want anyone to see.
Oh, you know, now that I think about it, the corpse wasn't wearing any gloves, right?
They probably just got burnt up in the explosion. I'm not convinced. The ghost is just trying to fool us all.
Aduh, bodohnya kelewatan. Nah, mungkin mayat itu Kyoko. Ini bodoh
This
banget,
entire discussion
aduh.
is idiotic.
Oke, Byakuya sudah memutuskan hal yang ingin gue katakan.
Whoever it was, they were wearing fake nails, remember? I imagine trying to wear gloves over nails like that would have been a pretty big pain. Besides, Kyoko wears gloves to hide her hands, right? It'd be pretty weird for someone who's self-conscious about their hands to wear fake nails, don't you think?
Jeez, man, you don't know women, huh? They're complicated like that.
If anyone doesn't know women, it's you.
Well, Kyoko, any thoughts?
These gloves were custom made to the size of my hands to make sure they don't interfere with my daily life.
Ya, dia rapat banget tuh badannya.
If I wore fake nails, the gloves wouldn't fit properly.
Then that's that. The dead body doesn't belong to Kyoko.
Which should have been obvious since she's standing right here.
Okay, so then, who's the real victim? First, we need to figure that out.
That's the first thing I said. You're the one who's been dragging us around in circles.
So, exploded body analysis, tattoo on the right hand. Tattoo deh kayaknya sekarang.
If Kyoko really is still alive, then who died?
There's gotta be some way to figure it out. I don't think so. The face was scorched beyond recognition.
Salah. Shit.
Shoot!
Oke, mungkin gue harus dengerin semuanya dulu
Kyoko
ya.
really...
Then who died? There's gotta be. I don't think so. The face was scorched, and there wasn't any description in the monitor. Oh, if we can't identify the body.
Oke.
No, that's wrong.
Itu yang harus gue
There was
siapkan
one clue
pendapat
left
sosial.
behind that we can use to identify the body.
What? For real? If you're lying, you'll die a cruel and unusual death.
Cruel and unusual death. This I gotta see.
She's just being stupid. Ignore them, Makoto. Tell us what you're talking about.
The key to figuring out who it was is the tattoo on the back of her hand.
Oh, yeah. The design's pretty strange, huh? Is this a dog?
Her master must have made her get it to be like, you're my bitch.
Seriously? You really
yang
did
benar
something
aja.
that humiliating?
No, that's not it. The identity of the victim is hidden within that tattoo.
Oh, really?
Ini dari tadi banyak jokesnya gitu loh ini class trialnya, dan kayak terlalu dipaksain gitu, kayak gue kurang suka. Nggak kayak kemarin ngalir gitu loh. Kan dari awalnya udah dikasih
Fenrir
jokes gitu.
Mercenary Corps. That's the name of the military group Mukuro Ikusaba belonged to.
Soalnya bagian paling seru.
Okay, so
To show that they're a member of the team, each soldier that joins the squad would get a tattoo representing Fenrir somewhere on their body.
Fenrir?
X-Men Gambit. OLF.
Now I
No,
understand.
Fenrir itu serigala ya, gue pikir anjing. Fenrir itu kan
The
yang ngebunuh.
representation of Fenrir is
Oh iya,
a
wolf ya,
wolf.
serigala ya. Fenrir itu apa ya? Gue pikir anjing itu, tapi ternyata serigala ya. Gue lupa sih soalnya. Fenrir itu soalnya dia serigala yang dia pas Ragnarok itu dia ngebunuh bapaknya si Thor, siapa namanya? Odin ya. The more you know, itu gitu.
Fenrir, the wolf of Ragnarok. It's from Norse mythology.
Ya, dia ngejelasin. Berarti harusnya gue tadi nggak usah ngejelasin.
He's the child of the trickster god Loki and a female giant.
man, after all this time, we finally got a glimpse of the literary all-star.
A wolf tattoo. Then that means...
exactly. The body we found had a tattoo of a wolf, which means that person must have once belonged to Fenrir. So it must have been Mukuro.
What?
hold on. Isn't she the one that was behind this whole thing?
You sound surprised, but you're absolutely right. Yes, indeed. The trial this time is to solve the murder of Mukuro Ikusaba.
What? Are you saying the mastermind is dead? And now we have to have a cool-ass trial?
No. It means we were wrong in thinking that Mukuro was the mastermind at all.
But I mean, being the ultimate despair seems like a pretty mastermindy title to me.
Maybe we shouldn't have been thinking of her as the ultimate despair in the first place. After all, looking at her profile, I didn't see anything that would fit such a description. All it said was that she was the ultimate soldier.
Ultimate soldier.
If I remember correctly, that other information came from Kyoko. That's what you told Makoto, right?
So that means Kyoko got it wrong?
And who was she? Who was Mukuro Ikusaba? She's been gone this whole time? And when she finally turns up, she gets killed.
Usually when there's a scene where an important character dies, it has a lot more detail.
So you're saying she wasn't an important character?
Ya bukan terlalu penting.
Which would mean she was the same as us. Just another participant.
Then who's the real mastermind?
It must have been the Hope's Peak Academy headmaster after all.
No, the headmaster has nothing to do with it.
But how can we trust that? We already know your information about Mukuro was wrong.
My information was not wrong.
Okay. We're in the middle of a trial right now. Figuring out who killed Mukuro is first and foremost. Please
Oke.
limit all future prattle, chatter, and chit-chat as much as possible.
Fine. Uncovering the identity of the mastermind will have to wait. But remember this. No matter what happens, we will find out who you really are. I stake my family name on it.
I have officially decided to completely ignore all such attempts at provocation. Now then, just so nobody's confused, let me state this one more time for the record. The reason we're having a class trial is because a murder among the students has taken place. Hammer that point straight into your big ol' brains!
What you're saying is that both the victim and the culprit are part of the student body?
Then, one of us killed Mukuro?
Wait, no! There's a chance that there's some mystery 17th person who's been hiding all along!
Nope. There are only 16 students in total that have been taking part in these events.
Seriously? Then one of us killed Mukuro?
Who did it? Who's the killer this time?
Get a hold of yourself. We've already narrowed down the list of possible suspects.
Sangkanya cuma kita sama si Kyoko doang.
I'm sure you realize who I'm talking about, right, Makoto? Who the evidence points to?
Kenapa kita tahu hanya ada 2 tersangka? Tok orang yang kita cek. Mukuro dan Headmaster.
I got it!
Apa kita
You've
berdua
narrowed
aja?
it down to Kyoko and me, right?
Why do you say that?
Allow me to explain. Just after nighttime last night, I went to the garden, so I can confirm that at that point, there was no dead body there. So, the murder must have taken place after I left the garden. However, Hiro, Toko, Hina, and I were in the gym the entire time.
The gym?
That's right. The 4 of us were there trying to dismantle Monokuma. The whole time, we were very careful not to go anywhere alone. We even went to the bathroom in pairs. All of which is to say, the 4 of us all have alibis. The only ones without alibis
Are me and Makoto. That's why you're able to narrow down the list of suspects.
exactly so.
Gawat nih. Sangkanya cuma kita doang sama si Kyoko. Tapi kayaknya yang ngebunuh jelas-jelas kalau misalkan
I have something I'd like to say regarding the whole alibi thing.
kalau misalkan, nah ini kayaknya kita mau ngaku nih. Kemarin pelakunya masuk ke kamar kita, terus si Makoto ngebela diri.
Are you thinking of raising an objection?
Well, before that, I just want to try and get a better idea of what time the murder took place. Doing that might reveal some kind of clue.
Whatever you want. Somebody go ahead and help him out.
Oke.
Me and Byakuya can both confirm that the body wasn't in the garden at... Well, it was after nighttime for sure. I'd say it must have been around 10 o'clock. So the murder must have happened after 10 p.m.
Then I guess we can say the time frame for the murder was between then and when we found the body? Oh, but what time did we find the body?
The one who saw the body first was
Jam
Toko,
9,
right?
kan?
And she went to go get the pickaxe.
I got it! The body must have been
Okay.
discovered at 9 a.m., since that's when Toko went to get the pickaxe.
Oke.
He's right. It had to be around then.
So we can be totally sure the murder happened sometime between 10 at night and 9 in the morning.
For me, I was already asleep before nighttime hit, so I don't have an alibi after 10 o'clock. But I'm sure I met up with everyone else before 9 this morning.
We ran into each other in the dining hall, right? That was around... Oh yeah! Right around 7:30. I remember checking right before I went in, so I'm totally sure about it.
Which means from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., you don't have an alibi.
Oke, kita punya lebih antara jam 10 sampai jam 7.30. Oke, sepertinya inilah saat mainan ini dimulai. Ya, aku tidak bisa membuktikan alibi untuk saat itu. Kalau gitu aku hanya bisa membuktikan pembunuhannya tidak terjadi saat waktu aku tidak memiliki alibi. Sprinkle ya. Karena kalau mayatnya udah ada
We've
sebelum jam
established a time
7.30
frame for the
berarti harusnya dia
It took
sudah
place somewhere
bersalah.
between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most of that time.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
That's more than enough time to commit murder, I should think.
So Makoto, if you have any objections, now would be the
time.
We've established a time.
It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock at night and 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yep, and Makoto doesn't have an alibi for most.
Yeah, from 10 o'clock to 7:30.
Salah. Kenapa nggak mau?
Shoot!
It took place somewhere between 10 o'clock.
Oke. Gua harus matain. Ternyata bukan si Aoi, tapi si Gaku ya.
Actually, the murder couldn't have happened anywhere near 10 o'clock. It had to have taken place way later.
And what makes you say that?
Because of the sprinklers in the garden. The sprinklers are set to go off right at 7:30 every morning, right? So if the body had been in the garden before 7:30, then it should have been completely soaked.
Oh, hold on. I remember this part perfectly. The body was wet. Dripping wet, in fact.
Sorry, Toko, but you're wrong.
I'm wrong? How? Are you saying only the mouth down south was wet? How dare you spew such indecent words?
No,
Ya ada
I'm
aja
saying
loh.
that the body was wet, but not because of the sprinklers.
What do you mean? By denying the sprinkler, are you trying to deny my
Ada lagi
entire
kan.
existence?
Man, you're totally wacko.
If you really think it wasn't the sprinkler, you'd better tell us why!
Ya karena kita yang madapin pakai air. Oh ya Allah. I hate this game. I hate this game.
I admit nothing. I hate you. No, no, no! I don't.
That was so close.
How can you say it wasn't the sprinkler?
This should prove it.
I hate this game.
Just remember what the body was like after the explosion, and you'll see why it wasn't the sprinklers. The top half of the body was wet, yes, but the bottom half was completely dry. If the sprinklers got the body wet, shouldn't the whole body have been wet?
So they only got the top wet? The bottom was completely dry? What a brutal maniac!
I'm so sick of her.
Let's just move on. The reason only the top half was wet was because
Ya karena kita madapin apinya kan.
while the body was still on fire, I doused it with water. But only the part on fire, the top half.
Oh, then I guess the sprinklers really didn't do it.
So if the sprinklers didn't get the body wet, then the murder must have taken place sometime after the sprinklers turned on at 7:30 in the morning.
Which means she must have been killed sometime between then and when the body was discovered at 9.
But Makoto's alibi was only missing from 10 o'clock last night to 7:30 this morning, right?
So there's no way Makoto could have done it. I guess you had an alibi after all. Good for you.
In which case, the only one left without an alibi is Kyoko.
Dan dia masih senyum. Ini salah satu yang tidak punya alibi. Yang mana artinya mudah tidak akut. Menolak untuk percaya itu. Coba membunuh seorang
I'd just like to say one thing.
berkata satu
If
hal.
you vote for me and I die here, the mystery of this school will stay hidden forever. Which is why I can't let that happen.
Oke.
So are you saying you're not the culprit?
Of course I'm not. I have no reason to kill anyone. This is a trap the mastermind has laid for us.
A trap?
Jebakan katanya.
We're this far into the game and now you decide to blame me? Stop wasting time! Stop wasting energy! You really think your little trick is gonna work?
Shut up, you!
You got it, boss!
Wow,
Shutting
okay.
up now!
Anyway, Kyoko, you actually did have a reason to kill her.
Huh? She did?
She thought Mukuro was the ultimate despair. In other words, the mastermind behind everything. So she killed her to try and put a stop to all this. Isn't that right, Kyoko? But you made one catastrophic mistake. Mukuro wasn't the mastermind at all. And as a result, we were forced into another trial, something I'm sure you weren't at all expecting.
Oke, masuk akal juga sih.
So,
Dapatnya.
that was her motive?
If she had a motive and no alibi, well then, I think it's pretty clear Kyoko's gotta be the culprit.
I'm not the only one without an alibi. Makoto's explanation is still insufficient.
Huh?
Oh,
The sprinklers didn't get the body wet, but that doesn't mean the murder happened when he said it did.
What are you...
Because you see, there is a way the body could have avoided getting wet.
Interesting. I'm listening.
All it would take is covering the body with a certain something to keep it from getting wet.
oh, iya taplak yang di ruangan itu ya. Nah ini ya.
I got it!
Kan bagian bawahnya kotor,
You're
bagian
talking
atasnya
about the
bersih.
tarp, aren't you?
You catch on quick. You're right. All you'd have to do is cover the body with the tarp, and that'd take care of the water. In fact, that's exactly what the killer did. The dirt pattern on the tarp can attest to that. Only one side of the tarp got dirty, because that's the side that got covered in water. The side that faced down over the body, meanwhile, kept perfectly clean. This proves that the killer used the tarp to keep the body from getting soaked.
But
Oke.
why would they go to all that effort just to keep the body from getting wet?
Most likely so they could cloud the issue of when the murder actually took place. In other words, to create an excuse exactly like the one Makoto just gave us.
Oh, wow. Berarti sejak awal Monokuma mati itu ya, apa boneka Monokuma yang mati di ruangan itu juga cuma jebakan supaya ujung-ujungnya tersangkanya tinggal kita berdua doang gitu, si Kyoko sama si Makoto. Karena si pelakunya sampai berbuat sejauh ini gitu. Mereka benar-benar masang jebakan buat mereka berdua gitu. Kenapa Kyoko berkata seperti itu? Apakah dia ingin membuat aku terlihat seperti pelakunya? Aku tidak bisa berkata seperti itu sekarang. Taplak itu kita digunakan sebagaimana Kyoko bilang. Otak itu pasti menyentuh tubuhnya, ya kan? Tapi tubuhnya...
Wait, something's not right.
And what might that be?
Aku tidak bisa mengkhawatirkan motivasi Kyoko. Jika aku tidak melakukan sesuatu, semua orang berpikir aku adalah pelakunya. Wow, exploded dead body. Oke, gue harus gitu ya.
By covering the body with the tarp, the killer prevented it from getting wet.
Oh, kondisi tubuh sebelum
So the
ledakan.
reason
Nah,
the
ini.
tarp was only dirty on one
Okay.
Because the spring, but the underside, it was totally spotless. It's because that side
side was since it was facing down toward the body. Of course it didn't get dirty.
Oke.
No, that's wrong. Actually, one side being clean is pretty strange if you think about it.
Harus ada noda darahnya
the
kan?
blood wasn't dry before the body got blown up, right? Byakuya said it himself. Not to touch it, or you might get some on you. If you put a tarp on a body in that state, it absolutely would have gotten blood on it.
Well, maybe the culprit washed it, so nobody would know they'd used it.
If they had, they would have washed both sides. Just washing the one side wouldn't hide anything.
Oh, yeah, true.
More than that, what if the very blood we saw on the body was meant as a kind of camouflage?
Caranya adalah kamuflase.
What if, after the killer used the tarp to avoid the sprinklers, they then covered the body in blood that didn't belong to the victim?
You mean someone else's blood? Where would they get something like that?
I know! They could have grabbed some of the blood packs from the nurse's office. That's what Hifumi did, right? When he pretended to be dead?
Oh iya betul.
No, that's not what happened this time. The killer got the blood from right there in the garden.
Yes.
Pantes kenapa ayamnya hilang satu ya?
But after the murder, there were only 4.
So, you're saying someone killed a chicken and then covered the body with its blood? Man, that's messed up.
Killing a living thing just to do something like that is awful. They should have at least eaten it.
I wonder if the killer had to get the blood from the scene so they wouldn't be spotted walking around. Anyway, there's no denying that a chicken went missing, which provides a basis for my theory.
Perhaps, but even so, there's one thing that still doesn't make sense. You said the culprit used the tarp to avoid the water and then covered the body in blood, right? But if that's the case, then the blood should have soaked into the ground around the body.
Oh
But
iya.
that's not what we saw. Only the victim's clothing had blood on it. The
Oh iya, dia nggak ada
ground was
darahnya, ada dia.
completely clean.
I have to agree, that certainly is strange. Maybe they didn't apply the blood at the scene. Maybe they covered the coat in blood beforehand.
They covered it beforehand?
When you
Maksudnya?
discovered the body, was it wearing the coat like you normally would?
I think so. Wait, no. The head was through the neck hole, but the arms weren't in the sleeves.
Then that settles it.
Sorry, I'm having a tough time keeping up. What settles what?
Here's what happened. The murder took place before the sprinklers went off. But the body didn't get wet because the killer covered it with the tarp.
Oke.
Then, later, at the same time the killer was gathering up the tarp, they pulled the coat over the body, the coat they'd already covered in blood. This series of cover-ups was meant to disguise the actual time the murder occurred. They wanted us to think the murder happened sometime after the sprinklers had gone off, at 7:30.
If that's actually what took place,
wow.
it certainly becomes possible that the murder happened earlier.
But to pull all that off, wouldn't they have had to go back to the garden after the sprinklers turned off?
That actually wouldn't have been all that difficult.
Huh?
Tidak sulit itu, huh?
They already had the coat ready, so they just had to grab the tarp and pull the coat over the body. They'd be done in no time.
Maybe. But still.
Hina,
Oke.
after you met up with Makoto in the dining hall, did you two stay together from that point on?
Oh no. I headed off to the gym, and Makoto didn't show up till later.
Then he had plenty of time to spare, wouldn't you say?
Oke.
That's not.
Don't bother saying it's not possible.
Sial, si Kyoko
I
mau
must
jokin
admit,
kita ya.
Kyoko's
Wah.
reasoning is sound. Makoto's alibi is inadequate.
Jangan kecurigaannya yang balik ke aku lagi. Tapi kenapa? Kenapa Kyoko berusaha menjebakku? Aku tidak mengerti. Nice. This guy's dead body telah ditambahkan dalam truth palette. Oke.
Well then, it looks like we're back to square one.
Wow.
Makoto's alibi is no good, so once again, our suspects are him and Kyoko.
For serious, man? Which one of them did it? Hey, why don't we let luck decide? Let's flip a coin. 50-50
Kampret.
odds.
Aduh, nggak penting banget.
See? Pretty good idea, right?
No, not that. I just remembered something super serious.
Well, don't just stand there. Out with it.
You know that knife we found all black and burnt?
The one we found stuck in the body before it exploded, right? According to the Monokuma file, the knife went all the way through, from front to back. So, what about it?
I'm pretty sure I'd seen that knife somewhere before.
Itu pisau yang di tempat kita. Oke, dari tadi gue nggak ada jelasin ya. Mungkin mudah-mudahan kalian paham ya. Tapi ya sampai sejauh ini tadi alibinya si Naegi jadinya gagal ya. Karena dipatahin pendapat kalau misalkan ternyata jaket yang berdarah ayam itu udah kita siapin sejak awal gitu. Sudah bisa dicapin sama pelakunya sejak awal. Jadi sekarang kembali lagi alibi kita yang jam 10 sampai jam 7 tadi gagal.
That's what I thought when I first saw it. I
Dan
just
karena
remembered.
pisaunya adalah pisau yang dititipin sama si Naegi, jadi ya ini jelas banget arahnya.
It's the knife we gave to Makoto?
You
Yep.
don't seem surprised. You must have noticed earlier.
Yeah,
Then why did you hide that fact?
it's not that I hid it. It's just...
Hal tidak yakin tujuan mengingat apa yang terjadi tadi malam. Aku berpikir mungkin aku benar-benar membunuhnya.
Suspicious! Very suspicious indeed.
Curigakan, sangat mencurigakan. Oh,
The knife we found stuck in the body came from Makoto. Now I'm totally convinced he did it. 12,000% convinced.
Pertimbangan semuanya sampai sekarang langsung bisa jelas. Aku akan membuktikan bahwa aku tidak membunuh seseorang. Aku bukan pembunuh. Kot ya, jaket diletakkan di tubuhnya setelah tapaknya di yang mana artinya saat saat bisa menusuk melalui kot ke jaket ya, jaket ke tubuhnya.
The knife we found lodged in the dead body.
It's the same one we gave to Makoto.
It really is, isn't it? I was afraid of that.
If he did have that knife before, that seals it.
Just because I had the knife, that automatic?
Well, getting stabbed is what killed her.
Oke.
No, that's wrong. Wait, hold on. The stab wound isn't what killed Mukuro. That should be clear from the description of the cover-up we just heard.
Lies! We never talked about what killed her.
No, don't you remember? The killer covered the dead body with the tarp and then put the bloody coat on it, right? In other words, the victim never wore that blood-stained coat until after they were dead.
Okay, fine. So what?
So, when we discovered the body, the knife had been thrust through the coat along with the body.
Oke, berarti bukan kena luka tusuk
Meaning,
katanya.
if she wasn't stabbed until the coat was put on, and she was already dead at that point, obviously the stab wound isn't what killed her.
Maybe you stabbed her twice. Once to kill her and once to cover it up.
Coba tusuk 2 kali di tempat yang sama, tidak kurang itu selesai. The extra condition of the body was written down. I want to see more file.
I got it! The Monokuma file clearly states that there was only one stab wound.
Oh yeah, it sure did. Totally forgot about that.
And the knife.
Was just another piece of camouflage set up by the true killer.
Wow.
They probably stabbed her to draw attention away from what actually killed her. Exploding the body afterward was probably meant to do the same thing.
Mereka berbuat sampai sejauh ini untuk nyembunyiin
The
soal
explosion
mayatnya
severely
gitu.
damaged the body, making it impossible to know what really killed her. It was all the killer's attempt to destroy all evidence of their crime.
So they wanted us to notice the stab wound and then detonated the body afterward. They meant for us to latch onto the knife as the cause of death, then destroy any evidence proving otherwise.
Gawat.
Oh, hey, I have a question. It kind of goes back to the beginning, but what's the deal with that explosion anyway? Why'd the body just blow up all of a sudden like that?
Oke.
If you bothered to put that lump of gray matter between your ears to use, you'd know the answer.
Oke, jadi sebenarnya kemarin lah. Sebenarnya tadi jadi ternyata pisaunya itu digunain karena kan dia ditusuk setelah apa? Jaket darahnya dulu diletakin ke dia terus habis itu baru ditutup pisaunya kan. Jadi ternyata pisaunya itu cuma buat cover up doang, buat nutupin doang. Dan
Well, if you're
sekarang
so smart, just tell me.
nanya kenapa
I'll
perlu
tell ya.
repot-repot
I
untuk
bet some
ngeledakin.
unknown quantum particle caused an
Oh
atomic
iya,
explosion.
males. Lagi seru-seru gini banyak bercandanya anjir.
I got it! After the explosion, we found a tiny fragment of something on the ground near the body, right? That fragment reveals the cause of the explosion.
Huh? You know, I feel like I've seen something like it somewhere before.
That's only natural, because of course, we saw the same thing when we dismantled Monokuma. It's part of a bomb.
Oh! Then the explosion was because of the Monokuma bomb.
Anyway, the culprit's motive is becoming more and more obvious by the minute. They wanted the knife wound to look like the fatal injury so that we'd suspect Makoto. And the only one who would benefit from that is the only other possible suspect, you, Kyoko.
Wow.
Hold on a second, Byakuya.
What's the problem?
Well, I just feel like we need to think this through. We still don't know what actually killed the victim.
That's true. It's definitely bugging me. What really killed her?
Fine, I have no problem with that. Let us continue the debate. It won't change the facts of the case regardless.
Oke, Kyoko diem aja lagi. Kan mau tahu ya apa yang menyebab membunuh korban. Kok ternyata sih.
Then shall we continue
The debate, the victim's
Fatal injury has yet to be
determined?
Oh, oke.
No, that's
Pukulan di
wrong.
kepalanya berarti yang fatal ya.
Mukuro died because of the blow to the back of the head she suffered.
What about the wounds all over the rest of her body? They didn't have anything to do with it?
The Monokuma file makes it clear that those weren't fresh wounds.
Oh yeah,
Itu
good
bukan
point.
luka baru ya.
If they were old, I guess they don't really matter.
Okay, then we're safe in assuming the blow to the back of her head is what killed her.
But then, what was the murder weapon?
The Monokuma file says she was hit with a blunt object, about as thick as a metal pipe.
Oh, I bet it was the pickaxe!
How is that even possible? If you hit someone with that, it'd cave their skull
Benda tumpul
completely.
kok. Pickaxe.
Well, maybe they held it the other way and hit her with the handle.
No way! I
Nggak
wouldn't
penting
mind.
banget.
Thanks. I bet you
Aduh.
just hit me with a
I'd love to scoop out that neck.
Pendapatnya si Yasuhiro ini benar-benar
Seriously?
Nggak
We want to figure out what killed
out
her,
of
right?
place banget
It
gitu loh.
just so happens we already know.
We already know?
Dan dia jadi banyak.
I knew we could count on you, Master.
Dan dialognya si Yasuhiro ini jadi banyak banget gitu karena ya orangnya kita tinggal sedikit kan, jadi ya gue lebih baik
So what was
harapin orang-orang yang udah mati yang ngomong.
Go ahead and tell them, Makoto. Surely you've deduced the real murder weapon?
Mungkinkah?
I got it! Mukuro was hit in the back of the head with something. And that's what killed her.
Masa pakai panah titanium?
And that something was the titanium arrow we found in the locker in the dojo.
Oh, panahnya diikat jadi satu pakai selotip itu terus.
That's what the culprit attacked Mukuro with?
Indeed. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, yes,
Are you
yes.
sure?
yes.
That sounds kind of weird.
Hey! How dare you backtalk, Master?
Lalalala.
Not back-talking anything.
Kayak panahnya dibikin jadi satu terus diikat pakai itu ya, bloody duct tape, selotip ya. Jadi dibikin jadi kayak tongkat gitu.
The titanium
Karena kan
arrow.
tanahnya titanium gitu, jadi
It
keras
was in the
banget.
dojo locker, right? I have no doubt that was the murder weapon.
Are you sure?
You don't sound convinced. What's the problem?
Well, cause in the Monokuma file, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal pipe, right? It seems like an arrow would just be
Talking back to
salah.
Master. You have no right!
Gue salah mencet, harusnya gue
The
mencet
titanium, it was
pause,
in the dojo. I have no
mencet
doubt.
Are
spasi,
you sure?
You
malah
don't sound
jadi.
Well, it said the weapon must have been about as thick as a metal. It seems like an arrow would just be too thin.
Walah.
Back to
Shit.
Master. You have no right!
You're right. Just the one arrow would have been too weak. That's why the killer used another weapon.
Another weapon?
Inside the dojo locker, we also found a balled-up wad of duct tape. The killer probably uses duct tape to bind multiple arrows together. Bundling them together using the duct tape would easily create a single weapon as thick as a pipe. And that's exactly what the killer did.
It's
Panahnya
similar
titanium
to Aesop's
soalnya.
fable about the bundle of sticks.
Iya.
One stick is weak, but put them together, and they become strong. It's meant to teach cooperation.
Damn, that's harsh.
How is it harsh? Are you even listening?
Anyway, that explains the murder weapon. As for who the culprit is that stashed the weapon in the dojo locker, it was you, Kyoko.
Gue sebel banget yang pendapatnya si Kyoko sama si Hiro ini karena porsi bicaranya mereka jadi banyak banget gitu. Jadi pendapat mereka nggak ada yang penting gitu. Kalau dibandingin freestyle sebelumnya kan serius gitu ya. Kayak ini kebanyakan joke-nya jadi out of place gitu loh di luar.
I've never been to the dojo.
Nggak ada pernah ke dojo.
Oh no, you absolutely have.
How can you say that with such confidence?
Because we have proof, of course. Don't we, Makoto? What's the matter? Surely you don't intend to protect a murderer. You know what will happen if you do, don't you? If you cover for the culprit, there's only one thing that can lead to the death of us all, remember?
Of course I remember.
Then show us. Show everyone the evidence that proves Kyoko went to the dojo.
Aku punya bukti. Bukti bahwa Kyoko pergi ke dojo. Berarti berhubungan dengan dojo locker, oke.
I got it! The one thing that proves Kyoko was in the dojo is right here. The key to the dojo locker.
And how does that prove anything?
Because I found it in your room.
It was in my room?
Don't bother trying to play dumb. That key is just the final piece of the puzzle.
Gila.
Your non-existent alibi, your clear motive, your attempts to frame Makoto for the crime. This all proves that you are the true culprit. You can't explain this away, so just give up.
Hold on a second.
Not this again. You really are dead set on defending her, aren't you?
Waduh.
It's not that I want to defend her. It's just... there's one more thing I need to ask her. Kyoko, I want you to tell me something. Last night, you were in my room, weren't you? Why? What were you doing there? That's what I need to know.
I was just protecting you.
What?
Dia melindungiku. Apakah itu maksudnya dia mengetahui bahwa aku akan diserang? Dan dia datang untuk menyelamatkanku. Wah.
That's enough. The time for idle chatter is over. A verdict is close at hand.
Wait. I'm warning you. Don't make this mistake. I'm not the killer.
I knew you were stubborn, but this is just getting ridiculous.
Really? But you should know better than anyone I didn't do it. Can you tell me I'm wrong?
I should know?
Saya mau tes suatu lebih baik daripada orang lain. Seperti ini. Oh, what? Satu bunyi ditemukan.
Those words you just spoke. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. I'm not the killer. You should understand that more than anyone here.
Byakuya, what are you hiding?
Master would never hide something from me!
There's proof that you aren't the culprit. Is that what you're saying?
You stated a theory earlier. You said I hid the evidence of my crime in the dojo locker, and then left the locker key in my own room.
Correct?
But could I really have done that?
Bentar, Kyoko memberikan kunci kamar Kyoko ya kan? Yang mana artinya?
But you aren't the culprit.
Oke.
No, that's wrong. If I'm right, Kyoko wouldn't have been able to get into her room.
Huh? Why not?
Because she had given her room key to Byakuya.
I see. So that's what you meant. And if I had the key to your room...
Then obviously I had no way of getting in. Without my room key, I couldn't have possibly put the locker key in there myself. Am I wrong?
Wow.
It would appear not.
Then you're finally
Bingungin
starting
banget
to
dia.
understand.
Tunjuk-tunjukannya antara kita sama si Naegi sama Kyoko doang itu. Nah, itu tidak sebenarnya benar. Ada kontradiksi jelas antara Kyoko bertahu sama dan itu adalah kebohongan. Tapi ini tidak seperti dia membantu menyelamatkan dirinya sendiri dengan kebohongan seperti itu. Apa dia benar-benar merasa terancam karena dia adalah pelakunya atau kan ada hal lain? Apakah ada hal lebih dalam yang Joko bilang sebelumnya? Jika kau mengeluarkan aku dan aku mati di sini, misteri dari sekolah ini akan tersimpan selamanya. Yang mana artinya aku tidak bisa membiarkannya terjadi. Ini adalah jebakan yang mastermind pasang untuk kita. Jebakan pelakunya. Pelakunya mencoba untuk menjebak Kyoko, tapi bagaimana jika itu tidak benar-benar benar? Apa yang akan kulakukan? Apa yang harus aku lakukan? Apa yang harus aku lakukan? Jebakan pelakunya. Korbannya adalah Mukuro dan Kyoko membunuhnya. Apa yang Kyoko benar-benar tahu? Apa yang harus kulakukan? Hubungan Kyoko? Aku adalah satu-satunya yang mengetahui bahwa itu adalah kebohongan. Aku adalah satu-satunya yang bisa membongkarnya. Tapi siapa yang bisa kupercaya? Apa yang harus kulakukan? Jebakan pelakunya? Kau menghabiskan seluruh waktumu menghindari bahaya. Kita tidak pernah tahu. Kita tahu bahayanya, tapi jika itu waktu yang mengorbankan diri untuk membongkar misterinya. Oh, ini pokoknya kata-kata yang tadi sih. Flashback aja. Apa yang aku lakukan? Aku harus memutuskan saat ini juga apakah aku ingin membongkar kebohongan Kyoko atau tidak. Membongkar bohongan dari go run away. Oke. Ini keputusan penting gua rasa. Can I save? I can't fucking save. Gua nggak bisa nge-save. Kalau kita ngebongkar kebohongan Kyoko nanti misterinya nggak akan terpecahkan. Tapi kalau kita relain nanti misterinya terpecahkan. Oke, gua udah nge-save sih di bagian awal. Jadi kita pilih dari atas dulu lah ya, biar lebih gampang gua buat monitornya. Kita bongkar kebohongannya dulu. Jadi
There was a lie hidden within Kyoko's statement just now.
Oke. Kita bongkar kebohongannya dulu. Kalau nanti ada hasil lain, kita ada save point sih.
Isn't that right, Kyoko?
You said it. The burden of proof is on you. So let's hear it. Where's this lie then?
Aku benar-benar berbohong, dan itu pasti karena ada suatu makna sembunyi yang ingin dia sembunyikan. Oke. Kyoko's account. Pengakuan Kyoko.
I didn't have the key to my room because I'd given it to Byakuya. There's no doubt about that, right?
You are correct.
So I couldn't possibly have gotten into my room.
Then, when
salah.
we searched Kyoko, how else could the key have gotten there?
Someone other than me must have put it there. That's the only explanation.
Kita bongkar dulu kebohongannya.
No. Kyoko could have gotten into her room. You said so yourself, didn't you, Kyoko?
Sebenarnya tidak juga. Aku menggunakan mana aku masih betul. Kayak dia yang flashback tadi ya.
Monokuma's secret tool?
Kyoko stole it from the headmaster's room. It lets you get into any room in the school, which means she could have used it to get into her own room.
Alright.
Then I guess that's it.
Kalau gitu itulah.
You're giving up just like that? You admit to killing...
No, I'm simply recognizing that I lost.
Oke.
What are you talking about?
Aku kalah katanya.
Like I said, this was a trap, and I wasn't able to escape it. So I lost. That's all this means.
Huh? Then, are you saying you really didn't... Kyoko, you really aren't the killer?
Okay, time's up!
Huh?
I'm sorry to say, but your time is up! All done, all finished. The class trial is all over.
But that's ridiculous! Since when is there any...
Bener-bener jebakan.
Because you were late, so the trial started late and time ran out. So then, it's time for voting time, okay?
Bener-bener mencurigakan aja.
Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you. But I guess we already know who the blackened is, don't we?
Bener-bener. Berarti kalau kita ngebongkar kebohongannya bener, ini jebakan. Karena nggak dikasih kesempatan apa-apa sama sekali gitu. Terus tiba-tiba waktunya habis gitu ya. Wow, oke. Good job, you got it right. Kalian benar. Benar. Kalian benar. Artinya, Kyoko benar-benar pelakunya, tapi ada sesuatu yang aneh terjadi di sini. Ada sesuatu yang aneh dengan style ini. Betul.
Now then, I prepared a very special punishment.
Okay.
Let's give it every...
Gue pengen lihat sih sebenarnya. Those eyes. Sadis anjir. After school lesson. Pelajaran setelah sekolah. Wah. Berarti benar-benar kayaknya itu tadi pilihan yang tadi tuh bercabang ke endingnya deh, gua rasa. Gila. Gimana perasaan yang ngetahui kalau bakal mati kayak gitu ya? Nah, itulah bagaimana class trial Omokuro Ikusaba berakhir. Aku masih penasaran apakah Kyoko sebenarnya benar-benar tidak bersalah atau apapun itu kenyataannya sudah menghilang. Bahkan untukku, aku hanya berhenti memikirkan hal itu. Nah, itu adalah akhir dari Mukuro class trial. Dan pada akhirnya itu membuktikan menjadi class trial terakhir kami. Setelah kasus itu berakhir, tidak pernah ada lagi pembunuhan di Havoc ya. Kami semua mengalami damai sebagai gantinya untuk kehidupan kami yang lain. Wow, oke. Oh wow. Damai tapi hanya di dalam sekolah. Mereka sampai punya anak, anjir. Dan ternyata jadi kenyataan ya, karena ramalannya si Hiro ya, karena katanya jadi suatu saat ibu dari anakmu sama dengan ibu dari anakku gitu kan. Oh, ternyata kita berbagi istri aja. Damai tapi hanya untuk kami. Mungkin satu-satunya harapan yang kami miliki. Si Toko kenapa mati ya? Why? Oh, harapan. Ini harapan.
No, this isn't right.
Tidak, ini tidak benar.
Makoto, why are you staring off into space? Don't you have a rebuttal for Kyoko's claim?
So that's not ending. Jadi itu bukan ending ternyata. Jadi itu hanya lamunannya si Makoto doang. Oh iya benar, aku harus mengekspos kebohongan Kyoko atau tidak? Oke. Berarti pilihan yang atas adalah jebakan, kita jangan pilih itu. Let it go. Buat putusan, aku harus percaya pada Kyoko. Ya mungkin dia membunuh seorang. Pasti ada rahasia di sini, sesuatu yang ada hubungannya dengan jebakan pelakunya.
Well, does no one have a rebuttal? Have you decided to accept her assertion as fact?
Yep.
I see. So you still refuse to accept it. I suppose we have to admit that Kyoko didn't put the locker key in her room, that it was someone else.
But who else could it have been?
Wow.
I mean, Byakuya had a room key, right?
You! What are you trying to imply?
But of course, I have an alibi. From nighttime on, I was with you guys the entire time. I couldn't possibly have killed anyone, or put the key in Kyoko's room.
Okay.
Well, someone had to put the key in there.
There's only one other possibility I can think of. Someone could have had the key on them, then once they arrived at the scene, pretended to find it there.
What?
It had to be Makoto, right?
I don't see any other option.
Wait a second. You've got it all wrong. Let's think about it one more time. There's gotta be a hidden side to this case.
Huh? A hidden side?
First of all, there's something off about this entire trial. You all see it, don't you? Mukuro, who we didn't even know existed, suddenly shows up dead, and then we're thrown into a trial. And Kyoko even said, it's a trap the mastermind set for us. So that's why this has to be...
Okay, time's up!
Uh-oh.
Time's up! Class trial's
Sama.
all over!
Tapi
Everyone
sekarang
can
kita nggak
stop
ngebongkar
talking now.
kebohongannya si
What?
Dan.
Time's up?
What do you mean time's up? There's no time's up. Since when have we...
It's because you were late, so we had to push back the start time. So then, it's time for voting time, okay? Everyone, please vote using the lever in front of you.
Voting time?
Oh shit. Oke, setidaknya ini benar-benar yang harus kita capai. Dan ini sebentar, gue lihat durasinya dulu. Oke, ini cuma sejam 15 menit. Setengah dari class trial yang biasa kita lakuin, karena biasanya sampai 2 jaman. Kalau misalnya nggak gue cut. Wow. Oke. Jadi gue rasa yang tadi pilihan tadi nggak ada hubungannya sama ending, karena class trialnya tetap lanjut. Sebenarnya cuma kayak apa namanya? Kalau misalnya kita pilih ini what if gitu lah ya istilahnya. Istilahnya Marvel what if. Kita pilih itu. Oh.
Now, who will be chosen as the blackened? Hey, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
Oke, pada milih siapa nih jadinya? Oh shit, kita nggak ada milih sama sekali. What? Biasanya ada nunjuk orang. Si Naegi dong. Aduh. What? What? Kalian berpikir aku pembunuhnya? Sorry man.
Sorry.
Ya maaf. Ini semua salahmu. Oke. Semua orang kalian salah. Saya salah, aku tidak melakukannya.
Yes, indeed.
Gua rasa ceritanya harus berlanjut kayak gini sih. Jadi ya.
Yep.
Jawab ya. Ya kalian benar. Enggak, aku tahu itu tidak benar. Semua ini tidak masuk akal. Seluruh case trial ini tidak masuk akal.
Hey!
It makes perfect sense.
Shing!
Ya sama seperti biasanya, seperti quest trial biasanya, dan ini akan berakhir seperti biasanya.
Thrills! Chills!
Oke. Oh. Kyoko.
I don't expect you to forgive me. I know this is all my fault.
Oh. Kyoko.
Let's give it everything we've got! It's punishment time!
Akhirnya kita kena eksekusi juga. Wow. What? Oh, hukumannya sama. Cuma bedanya ini bukan si Kyoko. Harusnya ceritanya memang harus berlanjut kemari deh. Wow. Gue nyebatin air mana-mana. Gue ceritanya memang harus berlanjut kayak gini sih. Well, are we gonna die now? After school lesson. Animasinya juga sama lagi. Ya ampun. Aduh. Animasinya sama persis aja. Oh my god. Wow. Kita diselamatin sama si alter ego. Oke, berarti dia masih tinggal di situ. Zero. Hah? Hah? Apa ini? Apa yang terjadi? Apa itu? Ya, itu pasti.
This is...
Alter ego. Alter ego? Apakah ini virus bodoh dari orang bodoh itu? Terus menanamkannya saat dia menginvasi jaringan. Oh, wow, kita selamatin sama si alter ego.
It would seem...
Sepertinya kau membuat salah. Bukan salah. Tidak, kau membuat keputusan yang salah sejak awal.
What the heck?
Apa itu?
In other words,
Itulah mengapa aku berkata kau seharusnya tidak meremehkan kami. Kenapa kau bicara seperti kau sudah menang? Aku kamu kayak tidak merasakan apapun. Itu adalah, yalah, malas gua. Oke, itu cukup. Aku masih tidak puas. Oke. At least kita selamat. Sih enggak? Kyoko, apa maksudnya semua ini? Beritahu kami apa yang terjadi.
calm down.
Tidak apa-apa. Kita bukan satu-satunya yang terjebak di sini selama ini. Hah?
In other words,
Sekarang oh, sekarang adalah mastermind yang kebingungan gitu ya.
What did you say?
Apa yang kau bicarakan?
so
Kau akan segera mengerti. Segera mengerti. Oke. Massive high school tower overall the building in interesting. Oh, benar ya. Seakan-akan sekolah ini menonjol di antara pusat dunia. Wow, kita flashback ke dari awal ya. Topik Academy. Ini membawa murid-murid teratas dari setiap bidang. Sekolah yang didanai pemerintah. Mereka berkata jika kau datang kemari dan bisa lulus, kau akan kehidupanmu akan nyaman gitu ya. Dengan ribuan tahun tradisi yang mengirimkan cream of the crop ya, istilahnya apa ya, bagian paling enak gitu, bagian paling terbaik, bagian terbaik ke bidang kerja setiap tahun. Itu dibangun untuk meningkatkan harapan untuk negara, yang mana membuat nama Hopik Puncak Harapan sangat cocok. Ada dua hal yang diperlukan untuk menghadiri sekolah ini. Pertama, kau harus sudah lulus SMA. Kedua, kau harus jadi yang terbaik dari apa yang kau lakukan. Tidak ada murid biasa yang bisa masuk ke sini hanya jika kau dipilih oleh sekolah sendiri. Oke, kita ultimate lucky student. Jadi ya, gua rasa tadi keberadaan alter ego itu benar-benar membuktikan kalau kita lucky ya, beruntung. Dan oke. terputus di situ. What? Where am I? Loh, ini kayak flashback lagi ya dari awal ya. Akan ini tidak aneh untuk aku melamun di tengah-tengah kelas yang membosankan atau gimana, tapi kenapa aku tiduran di sini? Ini bukanlah ruang kelas yang pernah aku hadiri. Apa yang terjadi? Akhirnya. Kemudian aku terbangun. Atau ini mimpi lain? Mimpi di antara mimpi buruk lain. Tidak, ini bukan mimpi. Aku merasakan ada baunya. Ini bau yang sangat mengerikan. Oke, ini pasti sejenis tempat pembuangan sampah. Itu hanya awal dari masalahku. Apa aku akan ada di sini sampai aku mati? Ya, aku tidak bisa membiarkan itu. Tidak, setelah teman baikku coba menyelamatkanku gitu ya. Mengingat sangat jelas apa yang terjadi. Alter ego menyelamatkanku. Dia menggunakan kekuatannya untuk melakukan itu. Dia aku tidak bisa menyerah sekarang. Untukku dan teman-temanku. Oke, kita harus cari cara untuk keluar dari sini. Well, ini kenapa ada kayak buntut pesawat di sini? What the fuck is this? Nah, roket dan tank. Terus sebaiknya tidak terlalu memikirkan apa yang terjadi ada di sini. Ini kayak bekas pesawat gitu loh. Bagaimana sesuatu seperti ini ada di selokan sekolah? Terkunci. Keluar dari sini tidak akan semudah itu. Kurasa aku tidak akan keluar dari sini secepat mungkin. Aku mencoba untuk berkeliling mencari makanan. Ada banyak makanan di sini tapi semua busuk. Itu tidak ada gunanya juga. Kemudian aku mencari air. Nggak bisa, aku yakin ada air di sini dan semua yang ada di sini sementara sangat buruk. Tidak ada gunanya. Aku merasa aku terjebak. Tapi itu bukan alasan yang cukup untuk menyerah karena aku masih hidup. Selama aku hidup aku tidak akan menyerah. Tidur, ujungnya kita tidur aja. Tidurku tidak terganggu. Dan itu yang bisa aku lakukan untuk menyimpan tenaga yang kumiliki setelah tidak bisa makan dan minum. Aku tidak yakin, tapi aku rasa satu hari setelah berlalu. Yang kulakukan hanya tidur. Seakan-akan aku menunggu sejenis tanda datang dari langit, tetapi apa yang datang dari langit bukanlah pertanda. Gak cringe. What the hell? What the? Kayak gak ada yang beda. Suara apa itu? Sampah lagi. Apa suatu jatuh dari sana? Suatu jatuh dari atas. Kayak kira ini apa? Oke, kita coba bongkar.
Just a second.
Sampah besar, kejam kali.
It smells awful.
Si Kyoko kemari nyamar jadi sampah. Kyoko.
Indeed.
Kau kelihatan lebih baik daripada yang kuduga. Kalau di sini, kan jelas aku coba untuk menyelamatkanmu. Terus itu bungkus pop mie-nya dibuang dulu dong. Coba kamu dengar apa? Oh, kau punya bungkus pop mie di kepalamu. Oke.
Hey.
Pertama-tama aku memiliki sesuatu untukmu. Ayo makan, kita bisa bicara setelah kau selesai. Terima kasih. Oke, kita makan. Karena kira aku punya energi, jadi aku bisa melanjutkan. Ini kau masih belum menyerah ya? Dan saya tidak. Lagi pula fakta bahwa aku bisa melanjutkan ini, ya bagus gitu kan. Nah, itu bukan hal yang buruk. Oke. Tapi Kyoko, kenapa kau datang untuk menyelamatkanku? Untuk membayar hutang, tidak untuk penebusan.
You.
Saat trial, kan walaupun kau tahu aku berbohong, kau tidak mengatakan apapun. Jadi kau mengetahui bahwa aku tahu.
Indeed.
Bahkan walaupun aku tahu, aku tidak melakukan apapun untuk menolongmu.
I.
Aku meninggalkanmu. Tidak berkata seperti itu. Jangan berkata seperti itu, kau tidak mengabaikanku. Karena kita udah dapat revelation gitu deh, kalau misalnya kita ngungkapin gitu ya apa yang terjadi sama dia sama kita. Terus kita hidup selamanya di sini, no. Kamu mencoba untuk menyelamatkanku dan aku tidak bisa melakukan hal yang sama untuk.
However.
Tapi dengarkan, aku tidak mencoba untuk membuat alasan, tapi ada alasan mengapa aku harus selamat. Kenapa aku harus selamat?
It's true.
Apa memberitahukan padamu? Apa memberitahukanmu segalanya? Alasan aku harus selamat.
In other words.
Jadi aku bisa melakukan apa? Oh, apa alasan aku datang ke sekolah ini? Apa? Aku memutuskan untuk datang ke Havoc untuk satu alasan yang sangat penting. Jadi kamu memiliki alasan untuk datang ke Havoc?
Indeed.
Itu benar. Setidaknya aku dulu memilikinya. Once.
I.
Sampai kemudian aku melupakan apa itu. Kau lupa tapi itu. Aku tidak memiliki ingatan apa tujuanku gitu ya. Tidak memiliki ingatan, tidak mungkin. Oke. Kalau gitu itu benar-benar. Kalau gitu itu benar gitu ya. Kau kehilangan ingatan.
Makoto.
Apa kau ingat Makoto? Apa kau ingat hal pertama yang terjadi pada masing-masing dari kita setelah kita sampai sekolah? Hal pertama, kau bicara saat kita pingsan ya kan? Kau pingsan kemudian saat aku terbangun aku terjebak di sini.
That's right.
Kau pingsan juga dan kemudian aku terbangun. Kau menyadari hal yang aneh, seperti terpisah dengan diriku sendiri, disconnect.
It would seem.
Kau mengingat itu lagi sekarang, pada saat itulah ingatanku menghilang. Pada saat itulah aku melupakannya. Aku tidak bisa mengingat mengapa aku datang ke sekolah ini dan aku tidak bisa mengingat apa kemampuanku, kemampuan terbaikku. Tapi apa yang membuat kau melupakan semua itu? Aneh ya kan? Sulit untuk membayangkan itu terjadi secara kebetulan. Itu nampaknya sangat aneh gitu ya. Apa kau berkata kau kehilangan ingatanmu karena?
Indeed.
Aku tidak yakin. Aku yakin itu adalah pekerjaan dari pelakunya. Bukan pekerjaannya, itu adalah kerjaan. Itu adalah. Gue masih heran nerjemah ini gimana ya. Makanya pokoknya itu adalah sesuatu yang dilakukan oleh gitu pelakunya. Mereka mencuri ingatanku. Tapi kenapa mereka melakukan hal itu? Satu-satunya alasan yang bisa kupikirkan karena tujuanku dan kemampuanku, entah bagaimana mereka akan kemampuan itu akan interfere, mengganggu rencana dari pelakunya. Jadi pelakunya hanya mencurinya darimu.
However.
Nah itu juga berarti artinya, nah bagaimana ingatanku mungkin terhubung dengan misteri dari sekolah ini dan juga pelakunya. Itulah mengapa aku harus mendapatkannya kembali. Itulah mengapa aku memeriksa semua ini sendirian sama ini. Tapi walaupun itu benar, kenapa aku tidak meminta kami semua untuk membantumu?
Why is that?
Jika aku melakukan itu dan kita bekerja sama, pelakunya akan segera menyadarinya. Terutama sebenarnya ada kemungkinan bahwa pelakunya adalah salah satu dari kita.
Correct.
Jangan terlalu dipikirkan soal itu. Itu hanya salah satu kemungkinan. Tapi karena ada kemungkinan itu, kita tidak bisa mengabaikannya, ya kan? Pelakunya salah satu dari kita. Jika dia percaya hal itu, tentu saja dia tidak mungkin mempercayai semua orang sekitarnya gitu. Jangan sampai nanti plot twistnya ternyata pelakunya itu ternyata si Naiginya ternyata. Waduh, jangan sampai deh. Kalau gitu hanya masuk akal jika dia mengambil
However.
Namun ada batasan di mana aku bisa melakukannya sendiri. Itulah mengapa aku minta kamu membantuku. Tapi kenapa aku? Karena di antara yang lain, Kau yang kelihatannya tidak mungkin sebagai pelakunya, itu hanya intuisiku, tapi oh begitu. Intuisimu benar, tidak mungkin orang biasa seperti aku bisa menjadi pelakunya.
I understand. I should understand everything.
Oh. Oke, mungkin gue meremehkan itu.
My goal isn't to get out of here. It's to stay here.
Oke, mungkin gue meremehkan itu. Oke, mungkin pelaku sebenarnya adalah si Naiki. Karena dia kayak flashback, bukan flashback ya, ingatannya gitu kan. Tujuan sebenarnya untuk berada di sini. Itu seperti mimpi yang sebelumnya, tapi kenapa itu terjadi?
Listen.
Kok baik-baik saja? Oh ya, itu bukan apa-apa. Itu bukan apa-apa ya kan?
Hey,
Bahkan walaupun sekarang aku masih percaya muka kau. Hanya saja aku tidak terbiasa bergantung pada orang lain.
correct.
Aku tahu aku tidak pernah meminta bantuanmu secara langsung, jadi aku mengerti bahwa kau tidak yakin. Jujurnya aku yakin. Aku rasa itu hanya apa ya, personalitinya, pribadiannya gitu ya. Can we go out now? Sudah bicara pergi. Oke. Kau berkata kau memiliki alasan untuk melakukan semua investigasi ini sendiri. Oke, I'm gonna save. Jadi bagaimana hasilnya? Apa kau bisa mengingat apapun?
So,
Aku rasa ada banyak hal yang aku tidak ingat, tapi setidaknya aku akhirnya bisa mengingat tujuanku dan kemampuanku. Kau menyebutkan kemampuanmu. Kemampuanku, apa yang orang-orang seharusnya mengetahui, mengenalku. I'm the ultimate detective. Oke, ini sudah sejak awal kita tebakan. Yeah, the ultimate
Correct.
detective. Dan alasan aku datang ke Havoc Academy, ada seorang yang harus aku temukan di sekolah ini. Kau harus menemukan seorang siapa?
so,
Well, itu adalah kepala sekolah dari Havoc Academy. Kepala sekolah. Apa kau ingin menemui kepala sekolah? Karena dia adalah ayahku. Apa?
in other words,
Aku terpisah darinya sejak aku kecil dan ternyata dia menjadi kepala sekolah di Havoc. Terus Dad adalah Havoc headmaster, kepala sekolahnya. Kemudian itu menjelaskan saat alter ego berkata pada kami bahwa kepala sekolah terlibat,
I,
akan menemukan cara. Apapun itu aku akan menemukan
No matter
kepala
what?
sekolah. Tidak peduli apapun resikonya. Ingatanku belum kembali juga sampai saat ini, tapi saat dia berkata itu, aku merasa aneh. Aku rasa itu masuk akal sekarang, tentu saja karena seluruh tujuanku datang kemari, karena tujuan kemari hanya untuk menemuinya gitu ya. Masuk
However,
akal. Namun dekat kata Makoto, aku ingin ini sangat jelas, jadi tidak ada kesalahpahaman. Aku berkata bahwa kepala sekolahnya bukanlah pelaku sebenarnya, tapi aku tidak berkata itu untuk melindunginya. Aku hanya berkata seperti itu berdasarkan apa yang aku lihat di dalam ruang kepala sekolah. Kalau kita apa yang kau lihat di sana? Ruangannya telah dirensek, telah diacak-acak gitu ya. Lacinya berantakan. Lemarinya berantakan, laci-laci bertumpahan di lantai. Satu-satu kesimpulanku adalah seseorang yang tidak mengetahui apapun telah sembunyi di sana. Maksudmu pelaku
It's
sebenarnya
true.
ya kan? Adalah asumsiku ya. Dan untuk mengkonfirmasi kecurigaanku, aku memutuskan untuk memeriksa asrama lantai 2 menggunakan kunci yang kutemukan. Tapi kenapa di sana? Karena aku juga menemukan ini di ruang kepala sekolah. Apakah ini peta?
indeed.
Ini adalah peta dari seluruh Havoc Academy. Aku menemukannya di ruang kepala sekolah bersamaan dengan profil Mukuro dan kunci itu. Petanya menunjukkan lantai 2 lantai 2 adalah rumah dari sejumlah ruangan yang digunakan untuk fakultas gitu ya. Oh, buat orang-orang sekolah ya. Beberapa pasti tinggal di sana bermalaman dari waktu ke waktu. Dan aku juga menyadari bahwa kepala sekolah mungkin memiliki sejenis ruangan pribadi di sana. Aku berasumsi bahwa jika itu benar, maka ruangan yang harus kita cek memiliki lebih banyak petunjuk. Jadi aku pergi
Correct.
memeriksa ke sana. Dan itulah saat aku mengingatnya. Aku mengingat bahwa tujuanku adalah untuk menemukan pemilik dari ruangan itu. Jadi kau akhirnya pergi ke sana untuk melihat jika ruangan kepala sekolah benar-benar memiliki ruangan rahasia di sana.
However,
Ruangan pribadi, bukan ruangan rahasia. Namun saat aku ada di sana, aku menyadari bahwa lantai 2 asrama tidak memiliki kamera dan monitor. Jadi apakah itu seperti bagian dari sekolah? Maksudku sulit untuk dikatakan. Yang bisa kukatakan adalah saat aku melihat itu, aku menyadarinya. Wow, apapun yang terjadi di sekolah ini lebih mengerikan daripada yang pernah kita bayangkan. Apa maksudnya?
so
Wow, aku tidak bisa menjelaskan, tapi kau harus melihatnya sendiri. Dan aku yakin kau akan bisa menyadarinya segera. Itu keadaannya sangat penting dan sangat mengerikan, menakutkan. Oke, jadi apa yang terjadi di sekolah ini katanya lebih parah dari kelihatannya. Jadi rupanya murid-murid SMA dikurung di dalam sekolah untuk saling membunuh itu ternyata tidak cukup mengerikan. Masih ada kenyataan yang lebih mengerikan lagi. I wonder about that.
however,
Namun itu artinya aku tidak tahu apa yang terjadi pada manggalan lain. Itu pasti ada hubungannya dengan Makoto ya kan?
however,
Hanya untuk memperjelas, aku tidak membunuhnya. Karena aku tahu itu bukan kau juga. Aku tahu kau benar, tapi apakah itu artinya semua orang selain kau dan aku memiliki alibi? Kalau gitu siapa yang membunuhnya?
anyway,
Yang bisa kukatakan bahwa adalah aku bisa katakan dengan yakin bahwa pelakunya terlibat secara langsung. Sejak awal, inti dari kelas trial Mukuro Ikusaba adalah untuk membuatku terbunuh. Membuat kau terbunuh.
indeed,
Aku mencuri kunci dan menghilang. Kemudian, jadi sebagai gantinya mereka ingin untuk mengeliminasi aku.
correct,
Itu adalah inti dari kelas trial. It was. Pokoknya tahu mereka tidak bisa menginterfere, mengganggu secara langsung. Maksudmu karena peraturan sekolah?
that's right,
Itu tepat. Oke, ini semakin yakin sih kalau ternyata ini memang acara TV gitu loh. Jadi kayak
in other
di-sharein.
words,
Jadi memang kacau banget kayaknya kondisinya di luar. Karena mereka tidak bisa membunuhku secara langsung, mereka coba untuk menggunakan kelas trial untuk itu. It sounds like pelakunya sendiri entah kenapa terikat dengan peraturan sekolah.
hey,
Ada satu hal lagi yang ingin ku katakan mengenai pembunuhan Mukuro Ikusaba. Apa itu? Sepertinya ada bagian di mana Mukuro mungkin tidak hanya menjadi pelaku, korban. Itu mungkin kau, Makoto. Aku telah menjadi korban.
indeed,
Kau tahu apa yang kubicarakan ya kan? Maksudnya saat malam hari aku bisa mendengar mereka, kau tahu. Langkah kaki dewa kematian apa? Aku bisa mendengar dewa kematian saat dia datang. Adalah kemampuan kemampuan itulah yang secara alami menarikku ke dalam kasus seperti ini.
anyway,
Yang mana itulah yang terjadi padamu. Aku ada di asrama dan kemudian ada ketakutan gitu saat aku melihat di tangga. Aku melihat bayangan putih di koridor. Aku segera mengejarnya dan aku mengikutinya. Aku melihat bayangan itu masuk ke dalam kamarmu.
correct,
Aku lari ke dalam ruanganmu dan kemudian itulah saat aku melihatnya. Aku segera mengacaukannya tentu saja.
however,
Tapi itu bukan akhirnya, tentu saja. Aku menghentikan mereka, tapi itu menuntun ke siapapun yang menyerangmu, mereka ternyata mati.
correct,
Dan pembunuhan mereka disamarkan, kemudian kunci dojo ditemukan di dalam kamarku. Tapi gila, berarti pintar banget ya, karena itu tadi jebakannya itu bisa berfungsi buat ngeliminasi si Makoto sama ngeliminasi Kyoko juga gitu. Jadi artinya siapapun yang membunuh Mukuro adalah pelaku juga ya kan. Aku tidak punya bukti untuk itu, tapi kurasa itu. Tapi kalau itu benar-benar buruk jika itu benar. Itu artinya pelakunya bisa membunuh siapapun yang mereka mau jika mereka ingin. Tunggu, tapi bukankah itu menciptakan kontradiksi lain? Pelakunya menggunakan class trial untuk mencoba membunuhmu karena mereka tidak bisa mengganggu ya kan?
Correct.
Oh benar, itu adalah kontradiksi. Dan itu tidak hanya Mukuro. Mereka memerlukan class trial untuk membunuhku, tapi nampaknya siap untuk membunuhmu di kamar. Semua yang mereka lakukan ada kontradiksi, bertentangan gitu ya. Jadi apa
In
maksudnya?
other words,
Itu artinya pelakunya pasti satu-satunya orang yang terpojok gitu ya.
Makoto.
Sedikit lagi dan aku bisa membongkar identitas pelakunya. Identitas dari The Other Ultimate Despair. The Other Ultimate Despair. Aku tidak ragu bahwa Mukuro adalah The Ultimate Despair, tapi dia sudah mati. Tapi aku tidak berpikir bahwa Ultimate Despair itu hanya satu orang. Bukan.
Indeed.
Ya kalau pikirkan itu Ultimate Despair nampaknya berimplikasi pada siapapun yang menciptakan kejadian ini. Kamu bicarakan
That's right.
soal apa yang terjadi setahun lalu, tragedi, siapapun yang bertanggung jawab soal itu, mereka adalah di Ultimate
It
Despair.
would seem
Kelompok keji yang tujuan mereka hanya untuk menciptakan kesusahan. Kemudian mereka
Indeed.
adalah, jangan salah, mereka adalah akar dari semua kejahatan yang memaksa kita untuk melalui semua ini. That's the ultimate despair. That's our real enemy. Oke. Wow. Hah, 6? Oh, kemarin 7 ya. Kemarin 7 tanda tanya kan. Oke. Sekarang 6 udah jelas. Kemarin roket. Oke, yes. 5 alive. Oke, kita dapat trophy. Wow, ini semakin menarik. Alright, gue rasa sampai di sini buat hari ini. Terima kasih buat kalian semua yang udah nonton. Wow, this is getting interesting. Dan kayaknya kita udah semakin mendekati mendekati akhir ya. Untuk ngebongkar identitas pelaku sebenarnya. Tapi untuk sekarang sampai di sini dulu. Terima kasih buat kalian semua yang udah nonton. Seperti biasa kalau kalian sama game ini like dan subscribe. Siap lagi game-game keren buat gue dan aku sekali lagi terima kasih. Terima kasih. See you next time. Bye bye.